TGIF, John, Mary, AJ, Ryan, how are you, buddy? You're the man.
Mate?
You're the man. Okay, that's all I could say.
All right, thank you very much. See you next week. I'll quit while I'm ahead.
Really great position trading that you did, buddy, into a number like that. So, can you get? Here we go. Can you see my screen? Or do I have to share again?
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay.
There we go. It's starting. Yep, we can see it.
Okay. So we got Greg's cell zone here in Aussie. You're probably staying long, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I did take a little bit off at 68 up here. Rude not to.
And this was your Grand Slam. Yeah, you know, it's funny, yesterday when it was just hanging here before the number, I remember saying, are you starting to lose some patience waiting for this thing to break down? And you said no, you know, not losing patience. It looked like it was more imminent than ever. So that's a great trade. And I think that, you know, the failing rally I've been talking about up here definitely happened. I think this is important, and that we're going, I think, eventually into year end that we'll trade 3 handle on the 10-year while the Fed's still tightening. So anyway, reactions besides Stel, your reaction to rates. I know you've been a hawk. Do you think things have changed?
Yeah, I'm less certain than I was before. Before I thought we have one more high in yields. Now it's a bigger question mark, because this number now, I think, could be enough for to sway the Fed. I don't think Powell is going to turn double, you know, come out all dovish next time he speaks. I still think he's going to kind of disappoint the markets, but I'm not as certain as I was before. So I don't know is the answer. The good thing is that we don't need to be right or wrong on this. Depends on how we trade it. You know, before
you would think this would be bullish for everything, right?
Yes, absolutely. You know, if rates stop going higher, that's going to be definitely bullish for everything. Now, if you remember yesterday, we did talk about dollar mex. Remember, it was lingering around the 41 level. That was a big level to break. Actually, you know what? If you want, I can take the screen. Let me take it for a few minutes. Hold on.
No, man.
Okay.
Now do it. Okay. I defined it. All right. Go ahead.
Hold on. Let me take that.
So you have to be patient with honor the senior.
I'll give it back to you. Don't worry. I'll give it back to you.
All right.
So this was the where is it? Horizontal line.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So I talked about this and I said, look, if or when this breaks. Remember, we had Bank of Mexico yesterday, so there was a question mark. If or when this breaks, I said I think we're going to go to 25, 30 pretty quickly, and it's a kind of setup that I like, that you get triggered into, and then you get the move that then gives you freedom to do whatever you like, to play with your stops, to take profits, do whatever you like. So here I got triggered that when 41 got broken, we did get down to 25, and I stupidly, I didn't put any take profit levels. I was out, and then I came back, and then this morning it's come right back up. So, I put my stop at break even, so I'm out with no gain, no loss, which is a bummer because we did get a nice move. But I'm just saying this kind of setup I like, because it's I think a relatively high probability of breaking. When it does break, you get a move that is easy enough in the beginning to make you essentially not have any risk afterwards, because you put your stops to break even or take some profits or do whatever you like. As it turns out, I didn't make anything, but this is the kind of setup I like. I was a little bit I stupidly didn't make anything, but anyway, having said all that, yesterday's number, I think, was definitely a lot lower than expected. I didn't expect that, and I think it could be enough for the Fed to start turning a little bit more. They have
Maybe
been
the market leads the Fed.
maybe, yeah. They have been. They
I
have.
disagree.
You disagree with that? Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it has happened on occasion, but the Fed is still driving, I think. But it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. Whoever says something and is, certain about it is wrong. So, what do I think going forward? It's a tough one. We are at the 50 DMA on the yields and the US, so that it's amazing how technically these things trade. Look, it's to the pip.
No.
Amazing, isn't it? So it's logical to see some kind of reaction now. Powell has already told us that they're going to be considering the effects, the lagging effects of the monetary policy. So they know, they're not idiots. They know how things work. They probably want to over tighten. It's probably best for them to overdo it rather than do less for credibility, for giving them room to cut when needed. But I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, very smart guy, this morning, and we were both, don't know. We weren't sure. So I'm just going to look at more price action. I'm happy that metals have been doing well. If you're in the chat room, you'll know I added a little bit again. My average is around 21, so a little bit in the money. But this 21.5 level was very big. If we have a weekly close above it, I'm going to really like this. Obviously, this is still a risk-on, risk-off trade, no doubt about it, and you have to know what your risk is. But I like this, and given that gold has broken out from these, it broke out from these previous highs. Gold is looking very good, and as long as gold is performing, I find it very difficult to see how silver is going to not perform with it. Okay, it's underperforming a little bit today, but overall, gold-silver ratio is looking pretty good. Look at this. Oops. Oof.
Yeah, it's back to the trend line.
Yeah,
It went to major support. Looks
Yes.
like it's turning.
Well, this was a nice move. It's broken this, this trend line. It's retesting now. If we see another leg lower, if we break 80, this is going to be fantastic, I think, for metals. But we need to have a dovish Fed, or we basically need yields to stop going higher for this to happen. So I'm still I still have around half the position I want in metals, so I'm not I'm not going out all guns blazing, but I like it so far.
How about the action? And I know you were talking about going with the weakness in Bitcoin. Did that reversal surprise you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a strong move yesterday, but look at the grand scheme of things. This is reversing a part of the last 3-day move, which has been brutal. And what are the fundamentals? The fundamentals are still that this FTX story is big. It's big news, I think. So it's and it just highlights the problems of an unregulated market. You have people who have their funds, their Bitcoins, their cash with them, and there's nobody who can protect them. That scares the crap out of me. So do I think cryptos are fine? No, I don't think so. Look, we broke below, and we're kind of retesting now the previous support, which was 17.7. So we are retesting, and unless we get a huge risk on move and stocks starts going, we start getting 4,100, 4,300 in the S&P. I think that's probably going to take cryptos with it along for the ride. But if we don't see that, I don't see how cryptos are gonna be able to manage to stop another drop. And if you look at the bigger picture, we have broken, and really the next level of support is 12 to 14K. Sorry, 10 to 12K. To 12, 13, whatever, this zone down here. And I find it hard to see how we're going to avoid hitting those levels. If we do get at those levels, I'm going to be personally very interested for a trade. Not, I don't think Bitcoin is going to change the world or anything of that sort, but I would like that on a long, as a trade to the long side.
Where, around 14?
It will depend on how we get there, but yeah, around probably around 12, 13, somewhere around there.
Okay.
To
We
begin
have this-
with.
Begin with, yeah.
Yeah, to begin with.
I mean,
And Stelio, I didn't want to interrupt you before, but you said, that all these activity, non-regulated, people losing their money scares the crap out of you. You know what would scare the crap out of me? If these people did not lose their money and got compensated for degenerate gambling in assets that have no intrinsic value. So, a financial world that would keep compensating people for these type of irrational behaviors would scare the crap out of me a lot more
yeah.
than people
But
losing their
Are
money.
they
Because
talking about that, Steve? Making people whole, or
I think there
Get
is
their
no
deposits.
chance,
Who do that?
that's going to fly, because the only way you can do that is using taxpayers' money. And there is
Yeah.
no politician in the world, and in this case, rightfully so, that would convince people that didn't participate in this madness that their taxes should bail out people that were gambling and thinking they're going to become millionaires overnight, trading something they don't understand, because if they understood it, they would never trade it.
yeah, and the question, the problem that we have is
now
that
we know why
this,
Tom Brady came out of retirement
yeah, yeah. The problem
and
that we
lost
have
his
is that,
wife on top of it.
oh, have they split up? I have no idea.
They're divorced.
Oh, they divorced. Okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
way behind on that
so
stuff.
she's available still.
So I have a chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
You're telling me there's a
I have her
chance.
phone number, Giselle's number, if you
Nice.
want it.
I'm happily
know.
married. Thank you. No, but what I was going to say is that the problem that we have is that the way things happen with FTX, what actually happened, for what I've been reading, obviously I'm not in the company, but I think it's becoming pretty clear what happened is that they were funneling.
Nick Leisman.
Yeah, they were funneling client money to fund their trading vehicle, their trading company, which is just criminal. But
illegal.
yeah. So when something like that happens, nobody will ever compensate you or basically bail you out. Definitely not the taxpayer.
Unless
Maybe
you're John Corzine.
Unless you're John Corzine. Yeah, that guy's.
He got away with murder.
If you're an ex-Goldman Sachs chairman, you can do anything.
What was that
much.
company he took down? It was a pretty big
MF Global.
commodity.
MF Global. I used to trade with them all the time.
Yeah. He saw no ramifications from that. Yeah.
And anyway, bottom line in cryptos,
Pisses me off.
Of course. Why do we have to abide by the rules and they don't? Anyway, it's a long story. But bottom line, though, in crypto land, I still don't see any reasons to be bullish. As I said before, if we get a huge risk-on move, then obviously everything's going to be taken with it. But I do think cryptos are probably going to underperform, and at least for the short term. Ethereum is trading better than Bitcoin.
Stelio, I don't think that cryptos will ever recover from this. And let me be specific in what I mean.
Yeah,
I can't predict the future and what's going to happen, for example, to Bitcoin or Ethereum, but I can tell you one thing. The 20,000 plus tokens, cryptocurrencies, coins, call them whatever you want, are going to dramatically get reduced when all this is done, right?
Yeah.
And this indiscriminate demand for things that have no value is definitely going to wane away. And there is going to be a big wound that's going to remind people for a period of time what it means going through crazy speculation. Now, I can't predict what's going to happen with the bigger ones, but as I've been consistently saying for years now, the vast majority of these things are going to completely disappear and go to zero. It's inevitable. I mean, whoever thinks that after so many thousands of economic histories, simple maths, because, basic economics is like simple maths, right? Simple mathematical truths. Now, people started believing that you can conjure electronic, let's call them assets, out of nowhere and in essence create trillions of hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars in existence out of nowhere. I wish things worked like that, right? Because all of us would be super rich, but things don't work like that.
I have to say one thing as a counter argument. I will never underestimate human greed. And I think the time will come when rates are low again and when risk taking is easy, and people are going to see these instruments. They're going to say, this is the fastest way for me and the easiest way for me to take a big gamble on something and potentially get 10 times my investment.
Might be the case.
I think we're going to see another run.
Might be the case, but I think that another run in cryptos will never have the type of character that it had during its infancy, during its first boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be having tens of thousands of coins popping up every day. Perhaps people will be more focused on a few of them, but I don't think we're going to see the same completely crazy speculation. And
I agree with you. But I think we're going to see it in a smaller level, but I think it's going to come again. It's going to come again.
Yeah, human greed, as you said, and this cycle will keep repeating itself. We've seen it in the past. It takes different forms, but it's in essence, it is made to express the same animal spirits and instincts, right? The ones that lead people to gamble, be it a casino, be it, whatever it is, right?
And this is easy. You gamble from your phone, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's.
So I think another topic to discuss with what happened this week, besides yields possibly doing something significant, is the question of whether or not what's happening in the dollar is a correction, or that with this kind of correction, I wouldn't be chasing anything up here. I wouldn't be chasing euro or cable or Aussie. Do you guys think this is a correction, or that we have a major top? I know I have a very important level at 104, and I think Ryan said that's where he thought it was going earlier in the week. So that I think would kind of answer the question if we got
Dale, I think
104 into Dixie.
I think it doesn't make for a good show, because it's always nice when people are super confident, about what's going to happen, like predicting the future, etc. But that's fortunately or unfortunately not something feasible. I think it's impossible to make that prediction at the moment, and the reason is the following. There are two scenarios at the moment. One, the market is front running a Fed pivot, which we know that at some point it's going to come, right? It's a matter of if it's going to be much later, in which case this is a premature move that's going to be met in the same way, by getting hit on the head, the same way it happened during the past 5 Fed meetings, from Powell's hawkish and seemingly solid stance, right? Or the market this time, because it has tried that several times in the recent past, in the past few months, is going to prove to be right. And, if the Fed starts feeding the market's hypothesis that we're getting closer to a Fed pivot, even if it gives a little bit away every meeting, we might see this move continuing, and we might have seen a major top in the dollar and a major bottom in equities. I have to tell you, though, that despite believing for a few days now that we would have seen probably this move unfold, I'm not sure at all, right? Because there is a big, let me say it oppositely, the more exacerbated this move becomes, the higher the probability that the Fed will want to put an end to it.
Yeah, I think this is in their face.
Exactly. So the chances of this move finding a hard stop increase exponentially the more this move unfolds.
Yeah, and we haven't got confirmation from Powell yet. That's why I think this is a correction. We have to get some kind of dovish confirmation from the Fed, and we don't have that yet. So,
do you think the Fed follows gold? I know Greenspan used to. Do you think they
absolutely
this recent rally in gold is also something that's bothering them?
I don't think it's bothering them necessarily, but they follow it closely for sure, right? By definition, don't forget that practically all central banks, with the exception of the smart BOE, I'm just joking about it, obviously, also have huge amounts in gold holdings. So, I mean, they of course follow what's happening with gold, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of the, of the balance sheet, right?
Yeah. And you know what they say, the price of gold shows how good a job the central banks are doing. So they definitely look at the price, and they definitely are aware of it. But at the end of the day, they can do whatever they like with the rates and stuff, but they can't control it. They can't control the price of gold, at least not in the medium term. Anyway,
Anyhow,
so you
gold was definitely the canary in the coal mine.
Yesterday,
it was not yesterday. 3-4 days ago when we had the first move higher. Gold,
there you go. Yeah.
Gold was the first one that really
China
seemed to get the message, and it actually broke out from its descending channel despite waiting for the big news having to do with CPI and not wait for the CPI news to break out. So that was a telltale. And, naturally, as long as this move keeps unfolding, I think that gold is going to be doing very well. But I think overall, if we have seen the top in the dollar, that's still, the jury's still out on that, as explained before. I think that all metals are going to do great. All precious metals are going to do great. And probably, as we've said multiple times before, silver and platinum are probably going to overperform gold. So gold probably gave the signal that the race has started, but the finishing line is first going to be crossed by, as you like to call them, the white stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a big level around 1800 in gold.
Yeah.
1880, 1805, that area. Yeah.
Yeah, that could end up being a neckline. That would measure almost 2000 if we start closing above that.
Yeah.
$200 move.
Yeah, I mean, grab the screen.
Yes, please. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, doing so now. There we go. So, one more thing, since we were talking about gold. Gold has now triggered, since yesterday's breakout, has also triggered the triple bottom. I was saying that yesterday. It was happening live when we were on the Morning Edge, the webinar that follows this one that is only for ForexAnalytix members, that we are triggering now a triple bottom formation, and the target is at 1842. So technically speaking as well, gold has more upside targets of importance. But as Stel said, the area roughly at 1805 is also a nice area of resistance. Previous highs there, the 200 daily moving average there as well. So I would say before we reach the 1842 triple bottom target, we have that area of resistance just above 1800. That's like the next, in essence, milestone on the way higher, right? Now, silver testing this ascending channel trend line resistance, closed yesterday above the 200 daily moving average. A little bit of a consolidation today.
22 is a huge area, and I see you have it marked up there.
Yeah, but the big breakout here is going to be above 25, because above 25 we're going to be breaking through this 2.5-year-old descending channel that clearly has corrective characteristics. And in my opinion, once we do that, and I'm not exaggerating, I think we're going to easily be on our way to
50.
To 50 with some milestones in between, right? 30, then we have 30 something, then we have 40 something, then we have 50. And I really believe, and I've said it multiple times before, that in the next bullish cycle, silver is going to make it to 50. It's going to be the third time and probably the last time that we stop there. Silver is extremely undervalued still. That's why I bought some physical when we were trading down there. I considered it an amazing opportunity, and I kept saying that, the lower we go, the more amazing the opportunity is, because silver had absolutely no chance of trading at these levels medium to long term, simply because they don't make sense, right? They don't make sense. I mean, from a cost of extraction and everything else.
Usage and everything. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes, exactly. So these levels were a gift for people that want to invest in it, right? I'm going to reiterate, for people that want to invest in it, because crude oil was a gift at $20 as well on the way down, but that didn't stop it from going to 11 if we're talking about the continuous, and if we want to talk about specific contracts, to even making it at minus 40 temporarily, right? So it's a different aspect of value when we're talking about investing and when we're talking about trading. One is shorter term and has to have very specific and strict risk reward rules.
Those are your leverage trades.
Yes. And the other one is investing. I bought some physical silver, I stored it, and I couldn't care less about what's going to happen. Yeah.
Which part of your house?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you where. At Stelios's house.
Funny, so, that's, you know, I shipped mine over to his house.
All my silver and gold is at Stelios's house.
That's a good one, Steve.
And for a very logical amount of money, I can disclose his address.
Oh, you deviant, you. Anyway. All right. Well, KMan, is KMan around today? He's not gone.
Yes, I am around. Good morning.
Oh, God, I want to hear from you before the end of the show. Thanks for keeping everyone tuned up. Thanks for keeping everyone tuned up this week.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So
what shall I tell you?
You tell us what you want to tell us.
Yeah,
I mean,
what
are you focused on?
How you reacted yesterday to the CPI?
Well, I told you. So I said if the CPI undershoots, I think dollar yen will be the fastest to go down. So I sold dollar yen. I sold dollar yen, I bought Kiwi, and I bought silver. And I must say that on the day, I'm extremely underwhelmed on how silver is trading, especially with the Chinese officials now saying that they are looking at some ways to gradually reopen the economy, despite the highest COVID cases to date in this round. And I'm extremely disappointed.
I think profit taking, mate. There has to be some profit taking. It's gone vertical over the past 4 or 5 days, so I think that's what it is.
Over to you.
Sorry,
what?
Back over to you. I wasn't just commenting.
Okay.
People are asking
for the yen side of things. I'd say in the overall scheme of things, if you look at the big move, the 38 and a bit is only at 135. But I think what MOF, with the help of the Bank of Japan, succeeded to do is to cap the dollar for now and buy time until data turned down in the US, which now seems to be the case. I also think that the inflation in the US is going to be more dynamic than perhaps in the EU, for instance. So we may see a few lower prints, and I think the MOF BOJ has done a pretty good job to cap dollar yen and buying time until the data started to turn. So I reckon that at least for now, the top is in place in dollar yen, but I think the speed of with which it goes now, it's been accelerated by a couple of factors. So yesterday the dollar got hammered. That's one thing, and the positions in yen were pretty big. So that's the other thing. And then what happened overnight and spilling over into Europe is that a lot of yen crosses have been sold. So we've seen everything from euro yen, sterling yen got hammered. Commodity yen, despite commodities being higher, got also hammered. But especially what happened today was that the American bloc versus yen and versus euro got hammered. If you look at all the euro crosses are higher versus the American currencies, whether it is the dollar, but also Canada, Mex, you name it, even Brazil, and the yen especially. So there's been huge unwind going on of longer term yen pairs. And what we also need to take into account is that that's market whisperers, is that the dollar yen market is short gamma via the options. So when it goes down, they are obliged to sell more. And if we stabilize and start to go up again, it's going to be the same thing. But I think that's going to happen only if we get back above 140, 140 and a half. So that is keeping the yen very strong for now. I think it's a little overdone. Eight big figures in less than 24 hours. But yeah, it's not to be excluded that we are going to do another round, but we'll see.
Glenn, I'm still short USD yen. I'm now 900 pips in the money. People in our community know that. I've been talking about my position. I've held it for quite some time now, and I agree with you. And that's why I liked USD yen to the downside. You know, I thought that any scenario that would bring USD weakness would actually push it a lot lower. But I don't think we're done yet. I think that any move back towards 140, 150 is probably going to find more selling.
Yeah, my view was around 140, 142, 142 and a half. But if you move 800 points, what's 50 points between friends, right?
Yeah, no disagreement there. And I do think that
it was around 142, 142 and a half.
Yeah, okay, we can go up to there. And I think that now that the move has gained impulsive characteristics, I've revised my downside targets. My initial downside target, if we broke through 145, was 140, 150. Now I've actually revised my downside target, and I think we can easily, and I know it sounds like an exaggeration, but I think we can easily move towards 135.
That's the 38.2 of the Powell turning a bit more hawkish.
Yeah.
It started just below 110, and if you take from 100 and around there up to 152-ish, that's coming in around 135 and a half.
Yeah. So I think there is more downside to come here. If the move maintained its corrective characteristics, that would have been a different conversation. But I think that this market had run for too long, too fast, and a very, very strong and prolonged move, really, excuses a correction that might be actually quite deep, right? So I think a lot of people who are going to be wrong-footed here, a lot of people that have now gotten used to like buying every dip in USD yen might be burned a few times before USD yen can find a tradable low and then resume to the upside.
Yeah,
Dale,
no,
it's
at the end of the road going to be a case of how the US yields are holding up, right? Because
of course,
as we've been saying, like
where will the yen be at 3% yields?
As long as yields don't completely collapse.
All right, well, let's say they do. We're going to 3%.
Okay, they do, then we're going down to 120.
Okay, there's your target.
If the yields collapse, then we're going down back to 120 in the dollar, and that's
yeah. Don't forget, guys, that 3.5%, in my opinion, is going to be a very hard. It's going to be a very hard level to crack to the downside, having to do with the 10-year US yields.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think for this move, and it's probably going to be perhaps another couple of sessions a bit wild, and then it should when the positions are lightened up, it should perhaps quiet down a bit. But the last thing that I wanted to add, I don't know, Dale, if you have an interview or not.
Peruvian bull, it's your matador, Dale Pinkert here.
Oh.
Are you here? Are you here? It's an anonymous guest.
I don't see him.
He wouldn't give me his real name, so I thought I'd give him a shot. He had an interesting tweet.
Okay,
but I guess the Peruvian bull is full of it. Full of bull.
No, but the other thing that speaks well, the other thing that speaks a little in favor of the yen
Forex
now,
guest hunter.
and that's what I said yesterday as well in over I think over the flow show it might have been, but that the current account is back into positive. That has been negative for quite a while, and now we have seen it moving back into positive territory. That is one of the fundamentals that was playing very much against the yen that has now dropped. So in my opinion, we have seen the highs for a good while in this dollar yen, unless some real big accident happens. But I think we have seen the high for a good while, and the MOF have succeeded to buy the time enough for the move to at least cap for a decent while.
Yeah, so I guess people, maybe you take away from it that eventually, with a well-timed Wall Street Journal article and then some news, that intervention works. It took them 3-4 attempts
Yeah,
to do it, but it worked. Everyone was saying up there, Steve, oh, it's just a waste of money. Look, they spent 30 billion today and 10 billion today. And
listen, Dale, intervention is never the way to solve issues. The thing is that intervention is not the one that worked, because if intervention had worked, we wouldn't have seen the first levels post the first intervention being
sometimes
breached.
Sometimes
so
it takes
easily.
more than one intervention.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, if you have an illness, at times you need more than one intervention.
I get your point, but I'm going to insist that intervention is not the one that
just
did it in this
agree with
case.
me. Say, Dale, you're right. It's Friday.
What did it in this case is a big turn in the dollar for the time being. Let's see how this works out.
They've had the best trade out of everyone. They sold it up at 152. They've bought it back today at 138.75. That's the best trade anyone's done in the pair for years.
Yeah, it was almost as good as the ride up you and KMan had. So, you know, no one could call you guys perma anything because you had the patience to ride it. Came in a little longer than you, Ryan. But Ryan, you were the first one on the team to start talking about shorting the yen. Kudos.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, mate.
And I think we're going to wrap. I think we're going to wrap it up because it's, you know what, it's my show.
Have a cracking weekend,
Friday,
Dale and everybody.
And I know everyone's fried. I mean, it was intense. I mean, these have been a couple of very intense weeks. Anyone tired?
Yeah.
Well, Steve, he needs a vacation from his
from my vacations.
Yeah,
it was physically exhausting.
Yeah. Anyway, team, you guys are the best on the net. We only got better with Ryan and KMan, and I don't think people could go anywhere whether they pay $200 a month for this kind of content or the fact that we give it away. I don't think anyone compares with the eyes and the talent and the experience that this team has anywhere on the net, anywhere on the planet. If you find something that you think is better, let me know, because I would have to see it to believe it. Okay. And
thank you, Dale, for the kind words. You're part of the team.
Yeah, you know, I have a good time hanging out with you guys, and you guys have a great weekend. And to our viewers and to anyone who caught some of these great trades that were laid out there, long gold, short yen, long Aussie, short MEX, I can't remember them all. Okay, why don't you peel a little money off of that and get involved with hanging around with these guys for more than a half an hour a day. Okay, so if you're doing okay being here for a half an hour a day, imagine how much better you could be doing if you spent 4 or 5 hours in our community every day. And that's it. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings, invest in yourself, and become part of ForexAnalytix.
Amen.
Have a wonderful weekend.
All right, everyone. See you, team.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dale.
Yeah, recharge your batteries, everyone, and we'll lay it all on the court again next week for everyone.